You got glasses on it? Okay.
Yeah, welcome to the Lucky Kiwi Podcast.
Where's Jed?
Jed? Who cares about Jed? I'm fresh.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, Lucky Kiwi Podcast. Hello, Jed. I just wanted to say my name's Tom. I'm from Sheffield, England. We have actually met before, you and I, Jed. I have a very cool photo to show you back from 2014 at Wales Comic Con. There we are together. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you for being such an awesome guy. Even like back then, you've just always been awesome, you know, and you're a big inspiration to me, as a lot of other people are. From, you know, the Lord of the Rings movies, and I just wanted to, you know, obviously send this video in to hopefully try my best to portray what Tolkien's work means to me. You know, I grew up with Peter Jackson's movies since I was 9 years old, all the way through to 11 years old, and then the Hobbits when I was 20 years old. I'm now 34 next month, crikey. So yeah, it's just been an absolutely amazing journey. I mean, the amount of time that's passed since Lord of the Rings and then the Hobbits, and then from the Hobbits to now, just blows my mind. I had the fortunate opportunity of having the trip of a lifetime. Back in December, I got to travel New Zealand for a whole month. Both islands, I did loads of different locations and took plenty of photos and videos, did a few corny reenactments as well. I tried my best with some of the tour guides, which was a really awesome experience. And yeah, I just absolutely fell in love with New Zealand. And to me, of course, and to a lot of other people, it is Middle-earth. You know, how it shaped my imagination growing up, all Tolkien's work. I've never actually read the books. However, I do have the 50th anniversary edition, and I do mean to get through it ASAP. But at the minute it's a little bit on hold, as right now I have just sold my house, my car. I've just left my job of 11 years to move to New Zealand to pursue a career in the stunt industry. Yeah, I'm going to be attending the New Zealand Stunt School in Auckland in the hopes that perhaps I could get on the hunt for Gollum. I know it starts filming soon. In whatever capacity that may be, would be a dream come true. But yeah, I'm just absolutely in love with film and TV, and just being a bit of an action man myself. I have friends in the industry and things, so yeah, I did forget to mention this on my 9th take back, but I do actually have pretty cool tattoo that I got in Queenstown as well to commemorate my my awesome trip. My question to you, Jed, was what's a smell or sound or maybe physical sensation from set that would instantly take you back to filming? Thank you for doing this podcast. It sounds really, really awesome. I've been following you for a long time. I hope we get to meet again someday, or even better, work together. Would be a dream come true. So yeah, I just wanted to say kia ora and thank you so much. Goodbye.
Welcome, Thomas. Yes, I do remember meeting you in Wales Comic Con all those years ago in 2014, not long after the films had come out. And I know that you've been to New Zealand. Great tattoo that you got there in Queenstown. Know you want to be a stunt person. Your question to me is, what sight or sound or smell or feel from the set do I remember? And this is a very easy question for me to answer. Because I was one of the 20 full-time horse trainers, the smell of the horses mixed with leather, sweat, and the smell of chainmail armour that I got to wear every day as one of the Rohan is one of those sensations and smells. The whole, all of my senses, I can go back and recreate that in my mind very, very easily because it was such a special moment in the film for me. So that is something that I will always remember. Great question, Thomas. Kia ora.
Hello.
Kia ora, brother.
Hey,
Hey.
I've just got to put the Bluetooth on.
Oh, yeah.
Get my glasses, bro.
Far out, bro. That makes you look real intelligent.
Does that?
Yeah.
I think I can hear it in my ear now.
There you go.
Are we good?
How's that? Is that better?
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yes.
Have you guys got AirPods in? Oh, maybe I should put them in too.
Yeah, just make you look professional. We try and look professional on this podcast.
You don't
do
have
you?
to. Either way, what works for you?
Look, I'll put them in. They match my top.
Excellent.
What's funny is that I've got to put my AirPods in now. That's not going. Oh, is that why? Talk.
Talking now. Blah, blah, blah.
I hate. Oh, hang on. Oh, nah. Look, see, there we go. Oh no, that was it.
Was that it? You can hear us now?
He's just like you, but browner.
Hey.
You're the same.
And he's younger too.
And younger, yes.
Only just.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just going to take them out. Otherwise, what's happening is that they're in. They look cool, but I can't hear anything out of them. How's that?
All right.
That's bloody perfect.
Perfect.
How are you, man?
I'm very well, thank you. Tom, I believe he sold up his house and that, and he's going to move over to New Zealand at some point. I don't know if he's already here, but yeah, if he's already here and I think he's joining the stunt school and stuff like that. I mean, that's a brave move. Moving all the way over here from there. But yeah, tell him to hit me up, reach out.
Do you have any advice for him as he starts his journey and trying to be a stuntman in New Zealand?
It's a great time to be over here in stunts. It's not about what you know, it's who you know. And especially in the stunt world, we've got a lot of jobs over here at the moment. He's in the right place in that if he's going to stunt school, he's getting to know people. And that's what it is. It's about getting to know people knowing who you are. I've just finished a job with a couple of amazing international stunt performers. So it's not as if being an international hinders you in any way, shape, or form. It's just about knowing the right people. If there's days that come up that you're available and you're there, if they don't know about you, then they can't call you up. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And it's about networking, making connections.
Yeah, I think Tom's a really brave. Tom, you're very brave doing it, but also having that kind of initiative to chase something that you really want is kind of what the industry is all about.
Yeah.
I think to be a stuntman, you have to have a little part of you that's just a little bit crazy. Just we've talked to a few. I see that there's a common thread that you just you have to have this fearlessness about you, don't you?
Fearlessness, but at the same time though, you've got to enjoy pain.
Yeah.
There's actually a part of you that has to enjoy pain because stunts hurt. Trick is not to get injured, right? If you get injured, then you can't work. If you can't work, you can't make money. But there's and again for me, it's one of those. I grew up back in the day playing rugby when if you didn't come off the field and you didn't have sprig marks all over your back, then you didn't play hard enough.
Yeah.
The more blood you came off the field with, the better you played. So
the more respect you got too.
Yeah, the more respect you got, exactly. So it's that whole thing of actually enjoying pain, embracing it. Yeah. So
I was a halfback. I was little, but my grandfather, he was an All Black, and he was only 9.5 stone, and he taught me how to tackle. First time any big guy got the ball, I would literally push other people out of the way to be the one to go and take, just because I wanted people to know that I was on the field.
Do you know how I learned to tackle? My grandfather put me in whenever we were drafting, would put me in front of the drafting race, and as the sheep came out and jumped, as they jumped, he'd put me on one side, taught me to tackle from that side, and then to hit them further on down where it's narrower, hit them out. And then once I'd perfected that, he put me on the other side. So I learnt to tackle on the other side. And then the big one was front on tackle. And that scared the shit out of me because I got snotted so many times as standing there. And they leaped and just absolutely flattened me. And he was the one that taught me just instead of trying to tackle like how I was doing from the sides, when they jump, use that momentum, grab them, go with them, and spin and roll.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned to tackle. And that's why I love tackling low. I always used to tackle down around the legs and hard.
Me too.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You don't have to be big, you just have to have technique.
No. But if you've got technique and you're big.
Yeah, okay. Have it all, Shane. You signed up as an extra.
Yeah.
And the next thing, you're a stunty. The next thing, you're a featured cast member.
Mm-hmm.
Get an action figure. Career.
Yeah. No, totally. And it was one of those ones too that, I took a gamble. I auditioned for Lurts, and we all know that I didn't get it. But but I was just like, I was a struggling actor back then, theatre actor. And as you well know, theatre's lovely for the passion, but terrible for the bank account. And I was just like, I'd worked on a few commercials and a few little films before, and I knew that if you were on there, you got fed. So I was just like, well, you know what? I'll jump on as an extra, and at least I know I'll get breakfast and lunch, and then make enough money to pay my rent. And it just kind of blew up from there,
Being a stunty, I know that you guys on the ground, I was on the horse. You guys paid with your bodies, man. It was a tough job every day, fronting up, getting smashed, and we talked about injuries, and I know there was that one day when we were down on the waterfront there shooting in a space with no runoff, with I think we had 28 horses in there, and I don't know how many stunties, where you sacrificed yourself. You leapt upon another stunty who was about to get bowled by horses and paid the ultimate price.
Yeah, yeah. But it's one of those ones that, like, it's really weird when I get put in situations like that. I actually don't. I've got no respect for my safety,
Yeah.
and I much rather look out for other people's safety. And Shane Dawson was the guy on the ground, and yeah, I saw him go down. I saw no one was over him, and so yeah, went and stood over him, and like literally the horse's hooves, because I was looking straight down at his head, just with my shield, just whacking the horse's rump to try and get it around so it wouldn't walk over him, and like inches away from his head. And unbeknownst to me, there's the other horse coming along, Tama and John Darby, who obviously didn't really see me because we were blocked by the other horse. And as that horse came through, the gates just opened up. And all I can remember is looking up just in that split second, seeing Tama's eye like just come straight in, and then I turned into Superman, flew. And it's really funny because I had no concept of what had happened, apart from I knew I'd been hit by a horse. But then all of a sudden, this heavy weight came down on top of me as I'd flown. Tama trips and lands on top of me. And luckily for me, he was a falling horse, so he just lay there until they picked him up. But it's so funny. I've talked about this story lots of times, but I've never actually mentioned John's name because in my head it was me and Tama.
Yeah.
And so John, I mean, that must have looked he must have flew.
He did.
Yeah. And just would have been great if it made the shot, because then it makes stuff like that all worthwhile. If it makes a cut, it makes stuff like that all worthwhile. But I mean, you could not rehearse that. You could not rehearse that. Which is
the camera was on me, bro.
Oh yeah. No, I totally believe that too. It's just like, did you see what happened? No, but Jed looked fantastic.
Yeah, I had Slady doing a huge gainer. I turned around after hitting him. I turned around and looked, and it all happened behind me, over to my right in slow motion, because I was in the far left channel. You were in the middle channel.
Yeah.
And then there was another channel, and then the camera. And I turned around to see it all happen, and you know how things in your mind happen in slow motion? It was like it was just boom.
Yeah.
Didn't happen like that, but in my head, I can still see it happening in slow motion.
Yeah. Well, I know they did catch it on one of the cameras, because I think they had 4 or 5 cameras up.
Yeah.
And and I know they caught it, and I was really hoping that I could see the footage.
Yeah. We're meant to be the Rohan, though. You know, we're not meant to fall off our horses or have our horses fall over. It's a bad
True.
look.
That's so true. That is so true. You know, you're supposed to be elite horseman.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which film was that in?
That's Fanghorn Forest. So that's the Two Towers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the scene where Snarga's just had his head cut off.
Oh.
And then I ride over the hill and throw the spear through the people who are eating me. Were you one of the Urukai in that scene as well?
No, I wasn't. Yeah, it's really funny because that's probably one of the first times in a lot of our careers because that happened literally on third take of the morning.
Yeah.
And that was on the Monday morning on the first day, and we had a whole week of it. And I think that was one of the first times that everyone sort of like looked at each other and went, "Oh my gosh, we've got a whole week of this."
Yeah.
And you know, well, I think we were very lucky that no one actually went to hospital.
We had a very little runoff. We were getting horses up to 20 miles an hour and then almost having to stop them straight away. A lot of people packed in there.
But not only that whole you guys had about, I don't know what, maybe 30 meters of clear track to get up to speed in a short space of time. But then everything else in front of you had people in front of it.
Yeah.
you know. And so even your runoff, even your stopping point, you know, people were, yeah, it
Yeah.
was it was an yeah, it was an amazing set to be on, because I remember that very first take when it was just carnage, and
It was.
it was deathly
Yeah.
quiet, you know.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you know, you hear those words that that are synonymous of and reset back to number ones.
I know.
And you're
I
like,
know.
okay, reset back to number
Yeah.
ones.
Because
But the worst
we
thing
had a
about
kind
it
of
was when I lost my teeth. That at lunch we had pavlova, and I love pavlova, and honestly, that was probably more excruciating eating that pavlova than it was getting hit by the horse. Because
do you know what
honestly,
pavlova is?
the sugar getting into the nerves of my teeth, because I couldn't get into the dentist until 8 o'clock that night. So I worked for the rest of the day with missing teeth. Yeah.
Jeepers. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you. Yeah, because I do remember you were still there. Yeah. You see
Yeah.
the things you find out later, eh?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you know, it was awesome. It formed a huge bond, and I'll tell you what, that day, that was the turning point where I actually got accepted into the stunt community as a proper, not as a proper stunty, but someone that, you know, because that's the difference. That's the thing with stunts, is that you can be talented as, but you have to have people's trust, because you know you've literally got their life in your hands at
You
certain
do.
points, and they have to trust you. And that was the day that I got accepted in, as you know, and everyone trusted me after that day. They were just like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what we'll throw at him, he'll step up to the plate.
We had that amazing bond between the horse department and the stunts where you guys would come out and train in that round pen and learning to keep yourself safe around the horse, but also reminding us that you have to do take after take, and we're the ones going at 25 miles an hour. We're the ones on a half a ton of animal, and you're down there on the ground. And I know that feeling of wanting to keep you guys safe was really, we had a conversation between the 20 of us full-time horse trainers every morning about how it was our job to make sure that you guys were safe. And we tried to keep you safe because, remember that the very first time we did that trail slide stuff out on the quarry.
Helm's
But
Deep, yeah,
yeah, it
down
was
at
just that thing
Warwick.
of people forgetting that actually when you've got a weapon in your hand traveling at speed, you don't have to do anything with that weapon to hurt people.
Mm. Well, it's funny because I watched the films back, and I still remember that coming down the shale, you guys into the line of us with our pikes out. And at the time, I didn't, you know, I didn't think much of it. I was thinking, yeah, you know, this could be dangerous. But you look at it on film, man, that was epic.
Yeah,
What we did real, like pretty much most of that stuff now would probably be all animated now.
yeah,
You know, they all came down that shale at pace and leapt into us.
yeah.
You know, it was incredible.
I've I remember distinctly. Remember John Scott
Hmm.
came over from Canada with Lyle,
Canada,
and
yeah.
we did that first day down in Pellinor Fields. We'd already done Helm's Deep and all that stuff before they joined us.
Hmm.
And he turned to me and he went, "Oh my God, Jed, how have you not killed people?" I just said, we just don't do this." And I went, "Yeah, well, we worked out a way of doing it that was safe between us and them." And he went, "Really?"
Yeah, well,
You
that
should have said, "Oh
Pellinor,
yeah, it happens all the time. We just don't
yeah,
talk about it."
yeah, that Pellinor Field stuff though, that was crazy because that was at full charge.
It was, yeah,
That was the horses, and yeah, that's that was probably a huge amount of trust between both stunts, riders, and horses.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
because that was at full charge,
yeah.
full
Yeah,
gallop.
Those horses were all race horses, and once they got
Oh,
the bit in their teeth, once they had their heads up, we were just passengers. It
yeah,
was full rah, man.
yeah.
Yeah, it was, as you say, it was epic and it was visceral, and we probably won't ever get to do anything as exciting or possibly as dangerous ever again in our lives.
Nah, and it's, but at the same time, it's one of those ones that I remember growing up. That's the one thing that I loved about being her, right?
Yeah,
Is that it was massive and it was real.
yeah,
Um, and we did exactly the same. We didn't do it as full on as it because back then they were old school, so
yeah,
everything was just brutal. I mean, and
yeah,
we were sort of like that middle generation
yeah,
of where we still did some stuff old school, but
yeah.
new old. Um, and now it's the changing of the guard where they'd never do
I know.
that.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, we wouldn't get 300 extras in the South Island who have their own horses anymore.
No, no,
It was a changing time in New Zealand where a lot of the big stations were going away from having shepherds with horses, and we really struggled. We had a group of men who woke up one night and realized it was lambing season. They got on their horses and they rode off. And Peter the next day said, "Is it just in my imagination, or we're a bit light on riders today?" And we were like, "No, we lost like 80 or 90 overnight." And so we were on the phone trying to find young women
yeah,
who had their own horses who we then dressed up as Rohan. We already had a lot of women as the
yeah.
Rohan, but there just were no men left.
Well, it's funny you say that because it's really changed. Because I work every now and again out on a farm in the Wairarapa, and I talk about horses, riding horses and stuff like that, and they'll just like, oh, yeah, no,
Yeah,
no one really rides horses anymore,
yeah,
unless you're out in the wop wops, out in the back blocks. They still ride horses, but because 4-wheel drives and motorbikes don't get up over the hills like a horse does. But yeah, it's one of those ones where it is dying.
it is.
And
Yeah,
it's crazy how many people say they can ride a horse and then they hop on a horse. And it's one of those ones that when you've been brought up with it, riding horses as a kid, it's just natural. You've just got this relaxed, natural feel in it. Even if you haven't been on a horse for years, you can jump
yeah,
on a horse and you just the way you sit in the saddle, and it looks as though. And then you get other people go, "Yeah, I can ride. I've been riding for years." And then you hop on, and they just look as though they've never hopped on a horse before in their life
yeah.
because it's just like,
They're
yeah,
tense.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
it's
curious, Shane, did
yeah,
you grow up the way that Jed did on a farm, or what was your
yeah.
childhood like?
Yep, no, exactly right. I grew up, I was whāngai, so I was brought up by my grandparents. My grandfather was a fencer, so he did fences, and my grandmother was a cook, and we worked on big stations. As soon as I could walk, and my grandmother would let me, at the end of the day, when I knew my grandfather was coming home, like my grandmother would look out, and you could see him coming ages away. She'd say, "He's coming, he's coming." I'd run all the way down the driveway, and it's a long driveway, and I'd stand up on the strainer post up on the gate so that when he came through the gate, he'd grab me and put me on the front of his saddle and would ride up. And then once I was old enough, I had my first horse, Blue, and I would have been 6 when I had Blue. And not that I hadn't been riding, but that was the first time I had my own horse. I was just like, "Coco, can I get a saddle?" And he was just like, "Boy, learn to ride bareback first." He goes, "Because if
Yep.
you can't ride bareback, you can't ride a horse." Okay, okay. So he used to put over the old sugar sack over the horse, get the old girth strap, put it around the top, tighten it up. And then, so, basically, so that, what's the language like on this?
It's good. You can
Okay.
do whatever you like.
Okay, just literally just so that your ass wouldn't sweat between you and the horse, and you'd rub and you'd get chafing. So you'd put
Yeah.
a sack on, and it was a little bit more comfortable as well. And I can remember I was at for like years, and we like years I'd be riding bareback, and I said to my grandfather one day, I said, Coco, I'm really good at riding bareback now. Can I get a saddle? And he was just like, is it good? So I say what he really said.
Yeah. Say what he
Yeah.
really said.
Okay. So he turns to me and goes, "Atta boy, what the fuck do you want a saddle for? You can already ride bareback." He goes, "That's just a waste of fucking money."
You planned that the whole time. Huh?
Oh, totally. So to give you an idea of how that's how my grandfather worked, right? So we moved to a different station. We started off from Rukaturi station, and then which is up the Rukaturi Valley, and from there we moved up to Okare, which is up the Ohuka Valley by Wakaramoana. So further up into the Wop Wops. By that time I could ride, have my own horse and that, and my grandmother was a bit concerned because where the cookhouse was and to where the bus stop was, we're on the other side of sort of like this valley, and it was pretty close to about 5k if you went around the roads. It was about 3k, 2.5k if you went straight up the guts. And my grandmother was just like, "How's he going to get to the bus stop?" My grandfather goes, "I'll buy him a motorbike." I go, "A motorbike?" And she goes, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'll buy him a motorbike so he can ride up to the." And I'm just like, I'm going to say, "Oh my God, please take the job. Please take the job. I want a motorbike." So anyway, took the job, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So we moved to the farm. Grandfather goes, "Boy, can't get you a motorbike straight away for the first couple of months." He goes to my grandmother, "I'll take him, up to the bus stop." Cool. That happened probably for about the first week maybe. And then after that, my grandfather had to go out fencing and earlier. And he goes, "Boy, I have to leave at 4 a.m, so you'll have to get yourself up. You can walk, eh?" I was just like, "Yep, I can. All good." So I walked. I got there just as it was going past. So then I had to run all the way down to school. And I got down there late. And then so I knew I had to run quicker. And so I just kept running. And for a good couple of months. And then we had school cross country. And sort of like, because I'd always harp on to my grandfather, "Can I get a motorbike? Can I get a motorbike? Can I?" He goes, "Not yet, not yet, not yet." And went to school cross country. Won the school cross country. I go to my grandfather, "Can I get a motorbike?" He goes, "What the fuck do you want a motorbike for? Look, you just won the school cross country. You wouldn't have won that if you had a motorbike." And I'm like, hang on, what?
Yeah, country people are smart, man.
So yeah, that was my grandfather's philosophy. Dangle a carrot in front of it. I'll do whatever I can to reach it. And then once I've excelled, well, actually, you don't actually need that carrot anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
well, actually, I still like the carrot though.
So, did you ever get a motorbike as an adult even?
My grandfather did end up getting me a motorbike. Yeah. So I was very lucky. I had a motorbike, I had a horse. Still like my horse though. Love my horse.
Jed talks about when he was little and he would ride his horse to school, and that's just so different to the way that we grew up here in the States. It's almost like a fairy tale.
Yeah, well, it was one of those ones where I didn't have a horse when I first got to the new farm, and I ended up getting one, which was a thoroughbred, by the way. And oh my gosh, that thing was just nuts. But oh my gosh, just the thrill of it when it opened up was phenomenal. But I didn't want to take my horse up to the bus stop, just simply because I'd have to catch it, settle it, take it up. If I could ride all the way to school, I probably would, but school was just a little bit too far. So yeah, it was just like, nah, I'll just run.
Did you ever try stunts with your horse as a kid? Jed talks about him and his brother, the crazy things they used to do.
Oh yeah, like you'd always try and jump over creeks. You know, you'd see a creek and you'd go, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure the horse would be able to jump over this bit and jump over creeks and logs and stuff like that. Yeah, but we used to muster and all of that, so I used to always try and go down the steepest bit, you know. As yeah, and some of the tracks were so horrendous, but it was just like Man from Snowy River stuff, you know. You're leaning right back, the horse is on its horses, and it's literally just sliding down. I used to
Yeah.
love it as a kid.
Especially because of the clay that's sort of prevalent, especially up around Gizzy and
Yeah,
around
The
Taihape anyway,
Papa
that
Rock. Yeah,
papa. Yeah, it gets really slippery, and in the
yeah,
wintertime, even the tractor would be dodgy up there on the hills. But yeah, I remember I was on this purebred Arab called Neji. He was we kind of got him from this Arab stud up in Mangawai. And he just decided he wasn't going to go down the track anymore. He just decided to take a shortcut. And I was just a passenger man, and he was just gunning it, and then just, as you say, hock sliding right
yeah,
back on his hocks, just sliding all the way down the hill,
yeah,
right down to the fence. And I was just like, sort of semi-terrified, but that horse had always just been so nimble. I just was along for the ride. But he was just like, I don't want to go down the track anymore. It's too slippery. I'm going down that way.
yeah, yeah, totally. You know, and just breaking in horses in the river, you know,
Yeah,
take them in the river and then jump on them, you know, because they can throw you off as much as they want. It's not going to hurt. Plus, you know, it just takes a lot of their sting out of their bucking and that when they're in the water. So, and it's good. You
yeah,
form up a really good bond between you and your horse.
yeah. Speaking of your childhood, who were your childhood heroes?
Bro, my grandparents. My
Yeah,
grandparents were my childhood heroes. You know, my grandfather, World War Two, he was strong as shit. Like he was a fencer and he carried a strainer post on one shoulder and just he used to do fence lines. Just they were legendary. Him and his brother did this legendary fence line in Raupunga along a Papa Cliff. There's a Papa Cliff, and if you're driving from between Wairau and Napier, just by Raupunga, there's a Papa Cliff, and there's a fence line there. And my grandfather and his brother did it all by hand
yeah,
into the Papa Rock, and it's still standing today. And then I took my daughter to the farm that I grew up on, Rukaturi, and the gate was open. We happened to, I said, oh, babe, we'll be cheeky and we'll just drive up, show you the cookhouse, and then we'll drive out. And as we're driving up, this Land Cruiser starts coming down. I go, oh, I'm in trouble. And anyway, it was a young fella, and he was just going, "Oh, kia ora," and I said, "Oh, look, I'm really sorry. It's just I grew up in the cookhouse, and I just wanted to show my daughter." And he goes, "Oh, do you know where the farm, the manager's house is?" And I said, "Yeah, just up on the hill." And he goes, "Yeah, mum and dad are up there. Just go up, and they'd love to take you through." I said, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah." So I
right.
went up there. Absolutely lovely family. Took us through, and then the boy came back, and his dad goes, "Oh, he was saying that his dad was the fencer here." And he goes, "He didn't do the fences on this hill." And I go, "Yeah, he did." And he goes, "Oh my gosh." He goes, I had to move one of the posts. He goes, "The workmanship that is on that fence," he said, "it was just phenomenal." He said, "I've never seen
Yeah,
anything like it." And that's what my grandfather was known for. So, yeah, and he was a man of very few words, just quiet, but hard as nails, taught me everything that I needed to know how to survive. And then my grandmother she was harder than my grandfather, but so caring, like so caring. Um, she liked to drink. She she may have been an alcoholic, but I find that word hard to say with her because what it was her elixir to work. She'd wake up at, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning, do breakfast for the shepherds, go all the way through, right through till tea time. I'd go to bed, I'd wake up, and there'd just be preserves all done, you know, like just the bench would be lined with spaghetti or pears or apple and it's just like, when does she sleep, you know? I used to love it when Nan got drunk because it meant that I could ask her for anything, and if I knew there were chocolate biscuits or chocolate or lollies up in the cupboard, I'd wait until Nan get really drunk, and I'll go, Nan, can I have a biscuit? And she'd go, yeah, of course you can, my baby. That was always the answer. Of course you can, my baby. You know? Whereas when she was sober, she'll go, no. But yeah. So yeah, they were my absolute heroes. And my mum as well. My mum was amazing. She was a nurse, and then she moved over to Perth, worked in Hollywood Hospital over there, and then she got poached by the owner of a mine in Kalgoorlie, and took her out there and to work in their hospital on the mine, and she basically qualified. She went from being a nurse to a head trauma specialist because a lot of crashes and that out there. And then she became a health and safety officer. She was the first woman to that was allowed to open and close mines from a health and safety point of view. And then she also received, I can't remember what it was, but it was one of these medals that hardly anyone got for rescue. There was a crash in one of the big mines, and I think it was in the super pit, and she abseiled down and saved the sky. So, yeah. So
it's in your blood, bro.
You know, they were my heroes. They were my superheroes.
Talk about the one person who believed you into being. How do you pay that love forward?
Jill Clout is the one person that, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Her and Maureen Potros, actually, her and Maureen Potros, they took a gamble in me, because I played rugby, right? Sport was rugby, rowing, surf lifesaving. Sport was everything to me, but I also love theatre as well. I got into it by accident. And then what happened was that I was in a show, Jesus Christ Superstar. I played Caiaphas, the high priest. And then I went back home to the farm, Waikato Moana, and my uncle came back. I was staying with my uncle at the time, boarding with my uncle. And he was just like, someone from the Waitui choirs phoned up to, and I was just like, choir? I don't want to be in a choir. And he goes, oh yeah, apparently there's a competition down in Wellington. And I was just like, sorry, competition? And go, yeah. I said, for free. I get to go to Wellington for free. And he goes, probably. But he didn't have the number. So then I went through, back in our day, yellow pages. You'd remember them, Jed. You had the white pages and the yellow pages.
Yeah, Jed's sitting on one now. That's why he's so soft.
I was going to say, cousin. I was going to say, you've grown a bit. And it was one of those ones where, in Gisborne there was only 3 theatre groups. Repertory. There's Repertory Theatre and Gisborne Operatic, and then we created the third one. And so anyway, got a hold of Wellington Operatic, Maureen Potros. She said, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I tell you what, we've got a play reading this weekend. You should come down. I was just on the phone, big and brave, and go, yeah, of course, I'll come down. And then hung up, and I was just like, oh my gosh. So I went down there. If I tell someone I'm going to do something, I always do it right. That's just who I am. And so I decided to go down there, even though I knew I didn't want to. And one of the reasons why I didn't want to is I was extremely shy when I was younger. And even though I could read, I didn't like reading out aloud to people. Basically because I had a speech impediment when I was younger, and it always came back when I was nervous. So anyway, read and got through it. Just all I'd do is, as we got the play reading, I'd go through, I'd mark the page that I was on, and I'd just keep reading it. And then, so that once I got there, I knew what I was saying. And then they said, so see you at the auditions next week. And go, I got a rugby game next week. And go, what time's your rugby game? And I went, game's at 2, so it'll probably finish about 3, 3:15. I said all done by about 4:15. And they go, oh, well, auditions don't finish till 5. So, I was just like, I'll tell you what, if I can make it, I'll come. Knowing very well I wasn't going to go, but at least I didn't promise I was going to go. And then at 6 o'clock that night, because I didn't go, I was sitting at my uncle's place, and all of a sudden you hear this at the door. So I went and answered the door and I go, and it's Maureen Potros and Jill Clout. And they're just like, hi. And I went, hi. And I went, look, I know you didn't come to the auditions, but we cast you. And I was just like, sorry, what? And I went, we cast you and the character's name was Loa Watha. And he was and I was just like, oh my gosh. And from there, Jill Clout took me under her wing. And she was my second mum. She adopted me. I think, she must have been at the SPCA and she was looking at getting a dog. And instead of getting that, she saw me and I had big puppy dog eyes. And she went, you know what? I'll adopt this poor sad puppy instead.
You and I have talked a lot over the years, but these are stories I never knew about how you started your career in the industry. I met you when you first came down to Toi Whakaari, but and I've learned a bit more about you since you wrote that amazing script, Taonga, in terms of your life before that. But yeah, it's you can know someone for a long time, but not really know their origin story in terms of how you came to be in the industry. So these two people are obviously incredibly important to you.
Yeah. Maureen, I only mentioned Maureen because, she took a gamble on me. She was the director and writer of the show. She took a gamble on me. But yeah, it was really Jill that because I was so shy. And even with me not wanting to do something, she'd always just I didn't even have to audition. She just put me in because I think she could see that auditioning wasn't for me, but she could see that once I was on stage, that's where I shone. The auditioning process, I was so nervous, so scared, so shy. It didn't represent what I actually was when I was on stage. And they were really smart too, because the very first show I did, it was a pantomime. And so I got to interact with children. Having them bounce off in the audience just brought me alive. Pantomime's what really got me into going further. Pantomime, and then I stepped into musicals because I love singing. And then from there, more into drama and serious stuff. But and to tell you the truth, the how to pay it back, what I'm doing now, just letting people know that Jill was the most amazing person. Like even back then, Italian, European family in Gisborne, literally adopting a little Māori boy that they had no idea who the hell were. And she treated me like her son. It's crazy. Like back then, I'd never done anything. And Jill just saw something in me and steered me down that path. Yeah, she was just incredible. And talking about the script, I'm going to do a little homage to her in one of the scenes where I do a flashback, and I won't be doing it, but it won't be the dance that she taught me. But the dance that she taught me was to Mr. Bojangles. So there's a scene in there where it's going to be a flashback, and I'm going to amalgamate it through with music from modern day down into Mr. Bojangles to Tap Dancer on Stage. And that's going to be my homage to her.
That's so beautiful.
Bro, that's a shiver up my spine moment, because my mother was telling me just the other day that the piano teacher who taught all of the kids at school to play piano at my primary school, Mataroa Primary School, Helen Gordon, she was telling my mother that she can remember me tap dancing at aged 6 or 7 to Mr. Bojangles at school.
Oh, mate.
I'd seen it on the movies, I'd seen it on
Yeah,
some
same.
movie, and I'd
No,
learnt it.
same. I'd seen it on the films, and Jill was just like, "I want to teach you a tap. What song do you want to tap to?" And straight away I went, Mr. Bojangles. I
Yeah.
I
love
think
that
we
song.
need to have a full circle moment where you two show us what you've got to that song.
Oh, you know what's funny? You know what's
Yeah,
funny
because
is
my
that,
leg is really.
is that back then my feet weren't so big.
Yeah, my knee's really playing up right now. And
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's so funny. There's only really a couple of moves that I still do now. Every now and again, I'll just pull it out. I'll just go, da, 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 da. Yeah,
I could do the time step, and on King Kong, Jamie Bell and I pulled out the time step, doing a little dance for Naomi Watts actually
oh,
on the
nice.
boat. Yeah,
Ah,
Peter just jokingly said, "Can anyone tap dance?" Thinking everyone would say no. And me and Jamie Bell were like, "Yeah," and he looked at me like, "You can't tap dance." Of course, he played Billy Elliot, so he could tap
yeah,
dance. I
yeah,
was like,
exactly.
"I know how to do the time step."
Yeah. And then over the years, I've had a lot of other people. Like when I was at drama school, probably the one person at drama school that I owe a lot to is Jane Waddell. What Jane did was that we had to do monologues, and it was Shakespeare, so it was Old English, and I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
Do,
Because
do you remember it?
nah, not at all.
Now
And
entertain conjecture of a time when creeping murmur and the pouring dark fills the wide vessel of the universe.
yeah, nah, see, and then but she really took a lot of time with me, and because of my speech impediment as well, she really helped me focus and learn to articulate and slow stuff down and learn how to visualize what I was
Yeah.
saying as opposed to just saying.
So I think I've seen you open up a lot in terms of how you're able to interact with audiences. I think we were very lucky that Lord of the Rings was so successful, and we got to go to those conventions in places like Germany where we got to spend real time with people and have proper
Yeah,
conversations with people. I
totally.
know I've seen you become one of the most popular people at conventions that I know.
Oh, I don't know about that, cuz.
Well,
But
it's just speaking for
you know,
yourself.
you know, I mean, there's
Let me just
still.
add this. Ask Jed, what was the first thing I said about you when I first met you?
Hey, Jed, what was the first thing she said about me when she first met me?
That she could really relate to you and felt really comfortable talking to you. You're one of the people that's made her feel the most comfortable meeting any of my friends.
I feel like you
Oh,
could be one of my uncles. Like my uncles look like you. They're Mexican, but they look like you could be one of us. And you just give this very calming presence, this safe presence. And I think that's why fans are drawn to you as well.
oh, thank you. You know what's funny? When my very first time when I was in LA and I was down in Venice Beach, and I was with Kirk Maxwell and Sharon Maxwell, and I met them down there. He was doing Pirates of the Caribbean, and I was down there, and we were watching these guys busk, and there's a big circle, and the guy was going around with a hat, and I gave like I think it was like $5 or $10 US, and this guy just going, "Oh my God! Look, I just got $5 from the biggest Mexican I've ever seen." And Kirk just lost his shit. He just cracked right up. He just cracked right up.
Kurt Maxwell was Vigo's double.
And then he ended up being the sword master as well once Bob Anderson um,
That's right.
stepped away.
Yeah.
Which
Oh, I forgot that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then became
It's
the
funny
sword.
when I take Jed to family events and over to like my grandparents' house, he's the one token white guy with a bunch of Mexicans.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I'm the Tolkien white guy.
The Tolkien white guy. Yeah, yeah. It's hilarious because I remember the very first con I went to was the one in Wembley. That was the first con I
Oh,
went
yeah.
to, and that was my first time on stage doing a Q&A, and that was with you and Mana.
Yep.
And I didn't mind that so much. I didn't really say a lot because I let you do it, and Mana liked the stuff as well. So, and we did other things. But if you remember, there were two people that came up on set, and we are going to teach them how to be an elf and an orc, and you were teaching them how to be an elf. And then you said, Shane, teach him how to be an orc. And then all I did was make him run up and down the stairs in the auditorium.
That's right.
I just said, just start running up and down the stairs. And he was just like, what? And I go, no, just start running up and down the stairs in the auditorium. And he started and he came back down. I go, did I say stop? Just keep going.
He was there for like ages, I remember.
Yeah, I know. He was and I said, and basically at the end of it, he was knackered. And I go, that was what it was like being an orc at Helm's Deep. It was.
I've still got photos of us doing that where I was you doing those two sword things and pretending to fight you guys.
I remember the very next con I went to, and it was Rincon in Bonn, and I went into the back of the green room because they said, "Oh, your Q&A is going to be up and thing." I was sitting in the back of the green room waiting for you. Okay, Mr. Rangi, it's time for you to go out on stage. I was just like, "Where's everyone else?" And they're just like, "Sorry?" I said, "We're the other people with the Q&A, like Jed and that." And he goes, No, it's your Q&A. I went, "Sorry, what?" He goes, "It's your Q&A." I was just like, "What, me?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "How long?" He goes, "An hour." I went, "An hour?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "How many people out there?" And he goes, "Oh, there's a few. There's about 800. Sorry, what? And I remember that, but the year before, I was there and I was doing one of my signings, doing a signing, and this beautiful lady, Steffi, came up and she had a really bad stutter. And she was trying to talk to me, and she just wasn't getting her words out. And I just said, "Look, can I do something?" And she was just saying, so I just got up, went around my table, and I just gave her the biggest hug. And I said to her, "Look, I know exactly how you feel, because I used to have a really bad stutter as well." And she was just like, "Oh, really?" And I was just like, "Yeah, like really bad." I said, "I still kind of have it. I've just learned how to control it." So I went back to my table, and then because now she wasn't nervous as much. She could get her words out, and we had a really good conversation. And then my next Q&A, I actually brought it up because I thought it was really important to show people that even if you have a speech impediment, it shouldn't hold you back. See, I did it just then. Yeah. But it's and it's funny because once people know that I've got a stutter, and they understand that, and sometimes I'll triple up or quadruple up on a word. But yeah, and it was one of the Q&As where I really just opened up about the hardships that I had to overcome to get to where I am. And so, yeah, I think that's another reason why that people enjoy me as a guest, is because I am real. Like there's no real difference between me on stage or on set than there is me in person. I'm just me. I'm just a little Māori boy from the East Coast, doing what I love to do. So, yeah.
I think it's really brave of you to share that side of yourself, because I can imagine as a child it was really hard. And I think it's important that the people at home hear that we all can relate to them in some way, and that they can relate to us, so that they feel comfortable, talking with us. So thank you for sharing that.
No, it's one. I didn't think it was that big a thing at the time when I was saying it, but at the end of the Q&A, I came down, and man, the amount of people that came up and thanked me for sharing that, because they had a speech impediment as well. Was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty eye-opening for me.
Yeah. I love going to conventions with you because there is that real humility that you have that's not manufactured. I've done a lot of conventions with people who turn it on and then in the green room they revert to the people that they are, but you're just who you are no matter where you are in the world. You could be meeting the King of England or meeting your friend from Gisborne and you're just who you are, Shane, and you've never changed. You've been the same person that I've known for 35 years, bro.
I think it was because I was brought up by my grandparents, and they just always honed into me that treat people how I want to be treated. Because I'm a bigger guy, um, people instantly, if they don't know me, they instantly put me in a box of big, scary brown guy. And then, once they get to meet me and know me, they're just like, oh my gosh, your personality isn't at all what I first thought it was going to be. And it's not that it couldn't be. Like, I can quite easily slip into being that other person. But what it is because, just because of what my grandparents taught me, to treat people how you want to be treated. And I want to be treated with respect. I want to be treated, normally, I suppose. And so that's basically, for me, that's how I treat everyone else. And it's one of those things, as you know, my film's about a homeless guy. And that's probably one of the reasons why I've kind of chosen that subject, is because if people are homeless, they were never born homeless. And I learnt that when I was in India. It was crazy. And that I was going, a tuk-tuk driver picked me up, and he was just like, is there anywhere you want to go? And I said, yeah, there is, but probably wouldn't be able to go where I want to go. He goes, where do you want to go? I said, the slums. And he goes, oh yeah, I'll take you through the slums. I was just like, what? He goes, I'll take you through the slums. Easy. We just won't stop. And we're going through, and it was an absolute eye-opener. And I said to him while I was in the tuk, I said, man, you guys got a lot of homeless, eh? And he goes, what? They're not homeless. I go, sorry, what? He goes, they're not homeless. He goes, they're born here. He goes, if this was in the Amazon jungle, would you say they were homeless? I went, no. He goes, right. So just because it's within the city, it doesn't mean they're homeless. They're born here. This is the only life they know. He goes, look at the kids. And you look at the kids and they're playing in the streets with a stick and a stone, laughing, having the biggest fun. You look on the side of them and all the people are sitting there and they're either sipping tea, playing chess, playing cards, telling stories, laughing. And it's just like, you know what? He's right. This is all they know. This is what they know. So this to them is life. And homelessness is where you've had everything and lost everything due to something. So that's, I wanted to try and bring that to life and to light and to the forefront, because if you don't know someone's story, then you can't really judge them. It's a bit like you saying, you've known me for so long, but some of the stories you hear and you just go, oh my gosh, that makes sense now. That he wasn't very good at school academically, but was a sports. That makes sense why Shane can't really read the script.
Well, I know we had that. I don't know if you remember the press that we did back in Rincon when you had that little conversation with an actor who just said, people who can't read, everyone can read, and you went, well, you're not everyone. And it was, it was really confronting for them, but it was an honest moment for you. And it's like, yeah, the reason these films have resonated with so many people is because there's a lot of people who can't get through the books. And these films give them an opportunity of seeing this amazing story read for them by people. They can still have the experience of loving Tolkien's works without having to, beat themselves up for not being able to get through the book.
I can remember the first time I got asked that question, have you read The Lord of the Rings? Or have you read the books? And I go, you know what? When I got cast in it, well, when I was an extra, everyone was reading it. And I thought, I should give it a go. And I said, I got as far as The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. His hand goes up and go, yep. And they go, it's actually J.R.R. Tolkien. And I go, oh, I must have speed read that bit. And I went, so no, I haven't read the books. The only book I've ever read from front page to back page, word for word, was Lion, Witch and Wardrobe. That's the only book. Maybe I did read Prince Caspian and Dawn Treader, but I don't think I read them word for word. I think I kind of got bored. And this is as an adult. I got cast in them and I started reading them and I thought, oh man, is there any exciting bits or something? I don't know.
Where's the Minotaur? Where does the Minotaur come
from? Exactly.
So what part of your personality would surprise your fans? You talked a little bit about being shy.
If people saw me in the green room, they'd see how I'm shy, because if I walk into a green room and I don't know anyone, I actually don't say anything to anyone. It's not because I'm being arrogant, or it's just because because I know who they are,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's such and such from such and such. Oh my gosh. But they have no idea who I am, so I don't want to walk up and I walk away and they go, who's that guy?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, but the one thing I think fans would be shocked at is if they actually saw my warrior side, my protector side. I used to be a competitive sports person. I used to box, and I do have an aggression about me, a controlled aggression when I need it. And if someone pisses me off, I will stand up for the little man. I will stand up for what's right. Not that I was an enforcer. I just didn't like bullies.
Yeah.
I didn't like fighting, but at the same time, I didn't like seeing people get picked on. So
I know a couple of fans that have seen that, and they didn't start out being fans. They were actually two military people at an airport, and you and I were talking together, and they told us we'd gone through quite a few layers of security at Frankfurt Airport, and they asked us to turn around, and I decided to do a jump pirouette. And the next thing, I'm having guns pointed at me, and Shane actually disarmed one of them.
Way to go.
Yeah, and the next thing we're on the ground in handcuffs.
Yeah, but that wasn't a good thing, right?
No, that was a bad thing.
Because next thing I'm lying next to you and we've got guns pointed at us.
That's right, yeah. But that was your protective instinct. You saw someone pointing a weapon at me and you were protecting me. The little white guy who did the wrong thing.
So that was the end of the story, or?
No, I think you got upgraded, didn't you?
I did get upgraded. So that was good. What's funny is that I didn't take what I did as being wrong, but when we got through it, I distinctively remember looking at it and going, "What the hell was that, bro?"
Yeah, I think there was some other language there. Yeah, there was some other language there.
There was. But see, because that's not a storytelling one of my grandparents, or because they have to be truthful to them, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah.
Yeah, but they felt bad because of what happened, so they upgraded him to. I think they upgraded you to business class.
But not you. They were like, not that guy.
No, I caused it. What's something from that you've learned from failure that success never taught you?
I'd much rather be successful after failure than fail after success. Because
Yeah.
it's at least if you fail at the beginning and then you succeed, it's a better stepping stone than if you've always succeeded and then you fail. It's a lot harder to swallow failure if you've always succeeded. And you don't learn, a lot of people don't learn a lesson after they've failed. They normally go into depression and see themselves as a failure. Whereas when you
Yeah.
fail early on before you've succeeded, you learn to keep striving. And I think it's sport that really put me into that mindset. If you were successful all the time and getting picked, and then all of a sudden you didn't get picked, normally what happens is that they don't see it as, oh, that person was better than me. They normally see it as resentment of, why did that person get picked over me?
Yeah.
You know, why did the coach favor him? And that's why, yeah, failure for me is a great learning tool. And just I've always been like that. I mean, that's why I go to the gym at stupid o'clock and train for 2 hours, 6 days a week. It's not because I'm a gym head. It's because of that resilience that I'm building up mentally and physically to help me get through failure.
Yeah. We learn that working for Peter. He'll do 14, 15 rehearsals until it's right. And it's not because anyone's necessarily failing, it's because he wants it to be right. And then if we shoot it, it doesn't work. He doesn't make anyone feel like they've done anything wrong. He just goes, okay, well, that didn't work, guys. Let's work out what went wrong. The timing wasn't right here, and we didn't see the sword swing through here, and didn't look visceral enough. Let's work out. Let's work out what to, you know. I've seen a lot of actors retreat into themselves where they think, oh, I did it wrong, and I must be a terrible actor, and they retreat. They've pulled back from themselves instead of being brave enough to go and ask the question, or asking the question to find out what they can make better about it. They blame themselves and go, oh, I've never had to struggle like this. It's always been that I can do it on take one. Why are we doing take 14 or 15?
Yeah, that's what I love about being a creature performer, right? Is because if you're not doing it right, it's and you need to go back and have a look at that tape, because sometimes what's being portrayed underneath the prosthetics isn't being transferred through the prosthetics. So,
Yeah.
as you well know, sometimes you've got to over exaggerate an expression for it to read through, and then other times you have to dial it right back because the prosthetic that you're wearing actually exaggerates it a lot more. People who, you say to them, be angry, and they do that. They go, yeah, they go, and to them they're being angry, but normally it's like cut, reset, try and be angry. And then it's not until they say, look, I know you're trying to be angry, but on screen it looks as though you're smiling.
Yeah. Have you ever been wrongly recognized as another actor?
On more than one occasion. And it's funny. When I was younger, when I was going through drama school, I always used to get mistaken for. There were a couple of Kiwi league players, Kevin and Tony Edel.
Yeah.
And when I had
See that.
hair, I always used to get mistaken for Kevin Edel. But as I've gotten older and sort of like thickened out, get mistaken quite a bit for, unfortunately for him, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Really?
Yeah, I
Wow.
do. It's and
I can
it's
see that.
Yeah.
I'm going up to business class, the gangway into business class, and I'm walking up and I see the hostesses, I all of a sudden I see them, they spot me and I see their little eyes light up and you see them turn and go, oh my God. And I'm going, oh my God, here we go. And they've just got this, they're glowing, they've got a sparkle in the eye, and all of a sudden I get about 2 feet in front of them with my stick and I go, kia ora, and they look at me and then they go, oh. It's not.
You should have said, what could I say? Except
and I
you're
see the
welcome.
disappointment. I see the disappointment in their eyes, and it's just like wherever I go. Like I was in Canada, I was sitting at the airport, and this person, like I see, walked past about 6 times with their trolley, and just like, listen, I was just like, what the hell? And then all of a sudden, they came past the opposite way, but the 7th time, and they saw me from a different angle, and they came up, oh my gosh. It goes up and go, no, it's not him. It's not him. Oh, no. But even Jim on Way of Water, when he did the test screening on Way of Water, he came back and I saw him and I said, oh, how'd the test screening go? And he goes, oh, yeah, no, it went really, really well. The audience loved it. He goes, you know what the biggest question was, though, that was in the question box? And I said, what's that? And he goes, how did I get Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? Oh, how did I get The Rock in my movie? And I go, but The Rock's not in your movie. And he looks at me and goes, I know he's not in my fucking movie. But it's, no, I get that a lot. I just hope that, whenever he's walking down the streets, he doesn't get pulled over by a whole lot of cops and put to the ground thinking that it's me.
Yeah, I've definitely seen him. People go, "Oh, it's not Shane." No, it's just The Rock. I thought it was Shane, but no, it's just The Rock, bro.
It's just The Rock. But
I got stopped at LA airport by a husband and wife who just were desperately convinced that I was the guy from Mad Men, the guy with the grey hair. And they wanted to have a photo with me, and the guy goes, I just love Mad Men, it's so great, the work that you would do with John Hamm, so good. And I said, oh, that's not me. And he goes, don't be that guy. Don't pretend you're not the guy. You're the guy. We want to have a photo with the guy. And I went, it's not me. And I even had to get on Google and go, look, that's the guy. And then he goes, it's not even the guy. It's like, okay.
I was over in Malaysia doing Marco Polo, and we the breakfast bar and stuff like that, and go up and get breakfast, and I went up and I was with a whole lot of the guys, and I go up, and as I'm up there, the chef behind me, he goes, oh my gosh, you look like that guy. I go, what guy? And he goes, you know the guy? And I go, no. He goes, yeah, you do. He's an actor. I go, no, sorry, bro, still don't know. He goes, oh, and he's a wrestler. And I went, he's a wrestler and an actor. He goes, yeah, you know him. I go, sorry, bro, I actually don't. And so anyway, I go away, and he's just like, and the guy's in there cracking up. And then we go up to get something, and he goes, oh my gosh, I got it. He's a wrestler guy and the actor. You look just like him. I go, who? Who are you talking about? He goes, John Cena. I went, John Cena. He goes, yeah. What's in there, my guys? He goes, oh my gosh. That guy obviously doesn't know the difference between The Rock and John Cena. But even when I get mistaken a lot for sports, not particular sports people, but for being a sports person.
Yeah.
Like when I was coming back from Czech Republic after doing Prince Caspian, it was during the Rugby World Cup, and production. I flew over business class Emirates, and then when I was coming back, business class, and that was all booked out because of the Rugby World Cup. So they called me into the office and they're just like, look, I'm really sorry, but unfortunately, we've got no business class tickets to fly back on. And I was just like, oh, okay. Thinking that they're going to go, you're going to have to go back economy or something. And they go, so unfortunately, we have to fly back first class. I went, unfortunately for you. and so I flew back first class. But on the very last day of shooting, I hurt my ankle. I broke a bone in my foot. And so I had this really bad limp. I couldn't barely put any weight on it. But anyway, while I was in Heathrow, I get up there and the guy goes, oh, look, first class lounge. He goes, there's actually a little room down the end there if you'd like to go down there, just so that you're away from people. I said, look, I'd really love that if I could. And he goes, there's a seat there, you put your foot up. So I went down there, and I had a 3.5 hour delay in between the flights. So they brought me a whole lot of food and stuff, whatever I wanted, drinks and that. And so it was cool. And he comes and goes, Mr. Rangi, just to let you know that your plane's just about ready to board. And we've booked you through so that, so I got this other special service that I could go through this other little aisle that was fast track for first class. And I was just like, I didn't even know that you had such a service. He goes, but just to let you know, when we go out, the staff would all love to meet you. I was just like, okay, yeah, sure. It's okay. And still not knowing what's going on, right? So I get out there and there's like 12 people standing there, and I shake their hand and I meet them. And as I went to go, I said, look, I'd just like to thank you guys very much for the room. I said, it was so nice and quiet. And they go, yeah, well, we actually stopped people from going in there just so that you could have it. I said, oh, you didn't have to do that. And go, no, it's okay. Anyway, really sorry about your injury. I hope the All Blacks do really well at the Rugby World Cup. So they thought I was an All Black and who had got injured, and I'd now been sent home. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And all the way through, I got given this Silver Star treatment because it marked on my ticket that I was an All Black. Yeah. So yeah, I get mistaken for people a bit.
Yeah. I told my grandma that he was an actor. This was when I first introduced, and she goes, oh, I love Pretty Woman.
Julia Roberts, right?
Yeah. I was just going to say Julia Roberts.
He gets mistaken for Richard Gere all the time. Not all the time. Sometimes.
Yeah. You know what? Now that you say it, yeah, I can kind of see it now that you're sitting taller.
It could be worse, though. It could be worse. Yeah. Back when we were shooting, was there a quiet moment on location that you go back to in your memory?
Greenstone.
Yeah. We had to get there by boat first.
You had to get there by boat first off, and you just got there, and you had bush, you had the river, it just the Rohan camp was amazing. But for me, for me, believe it or not, the quiet place for me was actually sitting down in either the tent or the trailer with my eyes closed, because you're in full prosthetics, right? And you're out there and it's hot and hard and you're normally always fighting. So the quiet place for me that I always, even when I close my eyes, I'll always go there, is just the quiet within me, It's to me that was extremely important, extremely calming, just to find the quiet within me, because there wasn't really a set that we were on that was, because I was doing stunts, there was no quiet set. No. So I had to find the quiet within me. And I carried that, and I learned that on Lord of the Rings, and I carried that with me with all my performances I did. Whatever creature suit I was in was always to learn how to block out everything around me and just focus on the tranquility within me.
Really, that's a useful tool, man. And I've been asked a lot by people to sort of help train them up to be a creature actor, and they say, what is the most important thing? And it's exactly that. It's being able to find that quiet place. There's so much going on. A, you're uncomfortable from the moment you get in it. B, there's always people touching you because they're doing touch-ups all the time. You're getting advice from the DOP about where the mark is because quite often you can't see it. You're getting advice from the first AD about what action they want. You're getting advice from the director about what action they want. There's makeup people, there's costume people. It's never ending. You can have 6 or 7 people around you at any one time, all talking to you at once. And if you're not able to find a place where you can go and have that quiet, like at the end of the day, it's not my body that's exhausted. It's my mind that is just absolutely thrashed in terms of so much information coming all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, it's learning to find that tranquility within yourself. That's where the greatest peace is within you. Because if you can find that, there's nothing that'll rattle you. Because no matter what's going on, you can always just close your eyes and find it and go there and calm yourself down. And yeah, I learned that a lot with rings. Wasn't so bad because most of my prosthetics were all glued on. But when I was in Narnia, because the head was actually and people think that's actually better than having it glued on. It is, because you can take it off, but it isn't, because the heat builds up inside and you're in darkness.
Yeah.
You're actually in darkness, and your heat builds up in there, and you've got less oxygen because carbon dioxide doesn't go out. So you've really got to learn how to be calm in those situations and find the peace within yourself to get yourself through. So yeah, so for me, the quietest place on set that I could find is within me.
It only just clicked for me right now that you're talking about the lion in the story. That's what you were, right?
The Minotaur.
Oh, the Minotaur.
Yeah, I was a Minotaur
okay.
as well. Yeah, no, I played Aslan as well. I was a physical Aslan. I mean, that's yeah. So that's a running joke. That's a running joke for me. Is that I thought Liam Neeson played Aslan, and I go, oh, Liam Neeson was my voice.
I didn't realize that. I should have known that.
Yeah.
No, I just figured it out too.
Yeah. No, I played the physical Aslan. Because there were a whole lot of scenes where Lucian played with his mane, his fur.
Yeah.
And so they actually needed a creature. But yeah, I also played the werewolf, but mainly the Minotaurs. I made in all 3. General Ottman, Asterius, and then Tavros and Dawntree. So yeah.
You've had an amazing career, bro.
I've been very lucky. Oh, and I'll tell you what too. The other thing too is when you find that inner peace, it's always hard coming out of it, especially when you've got a big mechanical head on where you're 100% blind. And like this, there was a scene that we were doing on the stone table, and you're 100% blind, and I was 100% blind, and I had to learn to walk down the causeway, and I did all the steps. And they were just like, you'll never have to walk down the stairs. And I was just like, well, that's cool because I can't see them anyway. When I put the head on, I was in the chair, and I was facing straight down the middle of the causeway. So, you really have to trust that whoever's pointing you in the right direction is pointing you where you want to go. And I remember they put the head on me, and I was sitting, and I stood up, and just getting ready to go, and they went, oh, look, camera technical issue, do you mind sitting back down, and you don't need to take your head off, do you? And I went, no, I'm sweet as. So I sit straight back down, and then they go, okay, it's ready to go now. And so I stand back up and I go to Howard. So it was Howard Berger, that was putting me in, and I said, "Can you just make sure I'm pointing straight down the middle of the causeway?" I stand up, I'm still facing straight down. I sit back down, I stand back up, and then Howard goes, "Yeah, sure, I'll point it," and he goes like this, and I'm like, "That's down the middle of the causeway, right?" And he goes, "Yep." I said, "Are you sure?" Because in my head, I'm now walking off the side of the causeway. He goes, "No, you are facing right down the middle. So you just got to trust." The trouble with doing creature performance is that even though you can't see, you have to fool everyone and trick everyone and perform as if you can see, right? Yeah. So the downside with that is that, because I don't stop until I hear cut, and I'd worked out that there was 15 steps, and then I was pretty much at the end of the causeway, and then I had to start going down the steps, which I said I'd never have to do because I couldn't see. Anyway, and action. And so I'm walking, counting in my head as I get to 15 and I don't hear cut. And I'm like, oh shit. So I take the next step, and in my mind I'm going, please let that be the step. And it was. So luckily enough for me, once I hit that step, I knew there was 8 steps down, big steps down. So I took 8 steps down, and then I was on the grass and walked down it. Sharon Maxwell, who was doing digital effects at that point, came up to me and she goes, "Oh my gosh, you just walked down those steps." And I said, "Yeah, I know I did, because I didn't call cut." And she goes, "That was absolutely amazing. No one thinks that's amazing because everyone thinks you can see, but I know that you're 100% blind." And I go, "Yeah, please don't let me do that again." Because I don't think I'll be able to pull that off again. And then, then they realized that I actually couldn't see, so they'd stopped me just before. But yeah. So going into your happy place, it's just like finding the inner peace within you is vitally important, especially in times like that.
Yeah. If your eyesight ever goes, I think you'll be okay. You've got that muscle memory to get you by.
Yeah, well, it's funny because technically, I wear contacts in that, and I don't know if you can see it, but I've got quite big scar tissue up through my eye. That's from rugby, where a sprig went in. I was at the bottom of a ruck, and the guy looked down, and he had the biggest grin on his face, and just stomped his boot, and the boot has got sprigs on it. And the sprig hit my eye socket and went straight in and popped out my eye. Oh. And so I had to go around. Ooh. So I've got scar tissue in my right eye, and even with contacts, I'll never have perfect vision. I'm always really blurry in this eye, and when I take it out, technically I'm legally blind in that eye because my vision's so bad in it. So yeah, even if I did go blind, I think I'd be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a show called The Killian Curse where I played a werewolf, and Weta were told that they wouldn't have to have eyes I could see through, so they painted them to make them the color of the werewolf eyes. And the director said to me, he said, "Can you see through those?" And I said, "No, I can't see anything." He went, "Oh yeah." And he just thought I was just lying. And it's a scene where I'm supposed to chase these kids through these trees, and we're in the pine forest.
Yeah.
In Wellington. And he goes, "So yeah, the kid takes off and then you take off after him." I said, "Well, which direction is he going in? Because I can't see him." And he went, "You'll see him. He'll go past you, and then you just need to sprint after him. You're chasing him through the trees." And I went, "Yeah, but I can't see anything." And I'm kind of looking around and there's no one there. Everyone's just gone. And he goes, "Action." So I thought, I'll just start running. Someone will call cut before I hit a tree. Ran straight into the tree. So pulled straight backwards. And the director goes, "Oh, Jed, you ran straight into a tree." And I'm lying on the ground. I was just like, "It's because I can't see." He said, "You mean you can't see well?" And I went, "I can't see anything."
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah.
I know.
I just thought that, like you, I thought someone would call cut. Surely someone will call cut before I run into a tree, but no.
I know and I guess that's the trouble when you're really good at doing your job, at bringing a creature to life, is that people take it for granted that you've got perfect vision. I mean, it's like that scene with Billy and Dom, where we had them, where Mana and I had them on our backs, and we had to run and we were the big Urukai, so the scale doubles. So we had massive heads on and big shoulders, and they were tied onto us. And then we had to run through the track going down the hill and through that little gully where the creek was. Honestly, we couldn't see a freaking thing because even though they had the mouth was open on the big head, everyone goes, "Oh no, you can see out of that," and they all hold it there where you've got perfect vision. But you move
And
that
then it
out
goes.
here,
Yeah.
you move that out here. All of a sudden, that's as big as you can see, and then as you're running, it's going like this, and everything's just blurry. You can't see jack,
Right.
and they're on our back. And if they knew that Mana and I couldn't actually see, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't. They'd have second thoughts about being tied onto us, because if we were going, they were going with us, And luckily enough, him and I did not fall over. So
I'd forgotten about you guys playing those with those big heads on, because it is the real Billy and Dom on the back. It's not the scale doubles.
yeah, I can vouch for that. Plus, I had Dom, and Dom's way heavier than Billy.
Yeah. Billy's just a wee man.
Yeah.
Sorry, Billy, but yeah. A small unnoticed moment on a set that you will treasure forever.
We're in Minas Tirith when the orcs come over, and I was actually a Gondorian soldier. I wasn't an orc that time. I was a Gondorian soldier, and because we didn't have any babysitters or anything like that, and I said, "Look, I've got my daughter with me. Is it okay?" And they were just like, "Yeah, sure, bring her on." I was just like, "Really?" And having her on set, just tucked away in a corner, and I'm just saying, "Babe, you've got to stay there until you say cut, okay? And then I'll come over." And she goes, okay, Dad. I didn't think about it at the time, but now I look back on it. It was just such a special time that, especially because of how big the films became.
Yeah.
For those, I think we did it for about 3 nights, I think. And it was just so cool having her on set with me and with all the boys, and she'd just walk around on set and then not being in costume, and then we would go to shoot something, I'd stick her in a little corner and hide her away, and then at the end of the take, come back and she'd be there, and the crew and that were awesome. They'd bring her hot chocolates and lollies and stuff like that. So that's an unnoticed moment for me.
That's a beautiful moment, bro. I was lucky that both my boys, got to have little parts and they got to come on set. But yeah, they were allowed to come and have a look what we were doing. Kiwi 2 Park, I remember Sabin coming down there, and the stunties were all going, "Oh, are you scared of all of us here? Is there Urukai and all the orcs?" And he went, "No, you just act as in a rubber suit." What he was concerned about, he was only 3 years old, he was concerned about the horses, the fake horses. He wanted someone to go and make sure that the fake horses were okay, because he said they've been lying down there for a very long time without moving, and I think someone should go and make sure they're okay.
Oh.
Does she remember? Does she remember that moment?
Yeah, no, she totally does. She totally remembers, and every now and again we talk about it. And that was the first time she'd ever been on set, but also being on set of such an iconic movie.
Yeah. We didn't know. We knew that we were on something that was important to Peter and to the crew. But as the filming went on, we sort of started to realize how many New Zealanders gave their time for free. People were so generous with letting us be billeted in their houses. There was kind of a feeling that the whole nation started to become aware of the fact that this was more than just another film. This was going to be a big deal. And
yeah, I mean, it's funny because for me it didn't actually click until we, I was lucky enough, as you probably were as well, to be invited to that screening that they took to Cannes. And it wasn't, to be honest, it wasn't until I saw that and I went, holy, this is going to be epic.
that was an amazing moment.
This is actually a Hollywood movie. Up until then, it was, to me, it was just, because New Zealand crew and that. Sure, the cast, a lot of the cast weren't, but there's still a lot of New Zealand crew. And so for me, it was just like, it was unheard of to have that amount of work in our industry at that time.
I just remember everybody was like standing up, just going, whoa, this is
Oh,
going to be so cool.
yeah,
I'd never seen that before, that kind of reaction.
yeah. And I think everyone that, whatever screening they went to, as soon as it finished, all they wanted to do was walk out and go straight back in and rewatch it. It was epic.
The little bit of Black Rider stuff of the chase scene that we did, and there, when you're filming it, you're on the horse. You don't see the perspective of what the camera's seeing
Mm-hmm.
or what it's capturing in terms of just how Andrew Lesnie's getting them to shoot it at 60 frames per second with the gowns billowing out. Just the artistic nature of what ended up on screen. It changed the way that I saw everything that I did after that. I was always like asking what the frame rate was. What's the frame rate of this? How can we make this better in slow motion when it shows? Just the hands coming up and down the bridles in slow motion, and the horse's head and the slobber coming out and the tongue coming out in slow motion. That stuff was incredible, bro.
You bring up Andrew's name, it's just reminded me of another unseen moment on set as well, and it was in The Hobbit. And I was fighting. There was a fight with Richard Armitage, and there was a few of us in there. But for some reason, he kneeled down in front of me, picked up this fake rock, and handed it to me. Yeah, and I went, "Oh, thank you." And he goes, and he was kneeling down when he did it, and he stands up. He goes, and I went to Andrew Leslie, like I didn't know what to do with it, and so I kind of just put it back on the thing because it was it was a prop, and Andrew Leslie saw me and he came and he picked it up and he handed it back and he goes, "Richard gave that to you, you have to keep it," and I went, "Oh, but I don't want to take it." And so he goes, "You have to take it." He goes, "I'll hold on to it until after the scene and then come and get it." He goes, I go, "Yeah, but I'm not allowed to take anything from set." And he goes, "Don't worry, I saw it. It was gifted to you." And and it was one of those moments as well that. So I don't have any props from Lord of the Rings, but from Hobbit, I've got this plastic rock, well, this polystyrene foam rock that Andrew Lesnie made me take because Richard gave it to me.
That's a beautiful story, man.
That is so wholesome. That's like when a child gives a gift to a parent, and it's like it could be like a little piece of string or something, but it's just meaningful because it came from the heart,
Yeah, totally.
Andrew Lesnie was there on set, and Sedwin was only 5 years old, and Peter was late coming to set. And Andrew said to Sedwin, he knelt down, he said, "So Sedwin, do you know what you're doing in the scene?" And he said, "No." He said, "Well, would you like to climb up here on the dolly?" And he gets him up on the dolly, got him to look through the lens, and he said, "So this is the camera. The camera's going to come down here. It's going to capture, you're going to be running down here, running and giggling, like you did in the wide shot with Liv. You're going to be running and giggling down here, and the camera's going to push him. And Vigo's going to be standing there." And he got Vigo to come and stand there. And he said, "You're going to run into his arms. Vigo's going to lift you up and do what, make you laugh. And then you're going to turn around. And then you're going to look right into the screen, right into the camera here. And you're going to do your acting face. And your acting face is going to be, 'Mummy, please don't leave. Don't leave. Don't leave. Don't leave.'" And you're going to think that. And then she's going to cry. And then when she cries, the audience is going to cry. And Sedwin goes, "Okay," very serious. So he puts him down and he says, "You go and practice your little run. You run up here and Vigo do the pickup." And then Peter arrives on set and he says, so Sedwin, we're going to do the scene now. Do you know what's happening?" He goes, "Yes, Peter. Andrew has told me I'm going to run, skipping and laughing. I'm going to run into Vigo's arms and he's going to lift me up and he's going to tickle me and I will laugh. And then I'm going to look around and I'm going to see the camera. I'm going to see the lens. I'm going to look right at it. And I'm going to do my acting face. And then Liv will cry. And then when she cries, the whole audience is going to cry." And Peter was he looked at Andrew Leslie and then Andrew just nodded like this, and Pete goes, "Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen." But it was just Andrew could see that this was a child who was just really innocent. And he said afterwards, he said, children are the best. They're the easiest. You give them the simplest thing and they can imagine it. And
Mm.
when they imagine it, it shows on screen. We don't have to do any more. It's just that easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For me, he was one of the unsung, if not the unsung hero of the films in terms of the way that he was able
Oh,
to understand what Peter wanted. He could second
and
guess him.
capture
He
it, right?
knew immediately. Yeah.
And
And he
capture
could
it,
capture
man.
it.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
and he was a lovely, lovely person.
It really was. And
Yeah.
funny, really funny
Oh
too.
yeah, shit, yeah, hilarious.
Has anyone ever surprised you with kindness on set?
Mia Thomas, who was on Pete's Dragon, and she was
Yeah.
Una's stand-in, her and Ruby. But I hardly had anything to do with Mia because I looked after Una and Oaks. But when she finished, she gave me the most beautiful card and a little pocket knife, Leatherman pocket knife, which is it's always in my truck, you know.
Pete's Dragon was possibly my favorite job ever.
Oh,
Being the
I
movement
think
coach for Una and Oaks, that was just like it was a gift, man.
everyone that has worked on it says best job ever. And even when I say, "Oh my God, Pete's Dragon, best job ever," they go, "Oh my gosh, someone else said that as well." You know, it was just like it really was. It was an amazing job.
Yeah, it's a great film. I cried when I saw it,
Oh,
but I cry at everything now.
yeah, but see, I think the beauty about Pete's Dragon was that for me, it 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 finally encapsulated the old school Disney, the old Disney shows that I used to watch, you know, um, and they really, really caught that on film,
They
you
did.
know, the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also had an amazing experience. I got to spend half an hour talking to Robert Redford about horses.
Oh,
He was just sitting in a chair, waiting to go to set, and I was late to location in Rotorua in the redwood forest.
yeah,
And people had said, don't go and bug him. And I was just like, well, he's someone I grew up watching on film, man. I'm going to
uh
go
huh,
and just say hi. That's when, said hi. And I said, I'd heard the story about him rescuing that horse on the side of the road. Told him that I was one of the trainers on Lord of the Rings and that I'd grown up on horseback. And then our whole conversation just became about horses, not about acting, not about films or anything. But I did say at the end, I said, I just have to say, because you're here, that Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid is one of my favorite Westerns. And he went, yeah, mine too. Yeah.
yeah,
So cool, man, when you get to meet your heroes. And I'm shy to go and talk to people like that as well, but it's just like I just couldn't let that opportunity pass up because such an
yeah,
amazing dude.
yeah, totally.
When he goes to conventions, I say, it doesn't matter who's there unless they were on Star Trek, and especially the original series. Please go and get
Oh,
a picture with us.
Yeah, I've done pretty well. What's something you've learned about silence?
the one thing that I've learnt about silence is how powerful it is.
Yeah.
It's especially especially when you're acting. I teach it a lot when I do my creature movement classes at Toy. I'm one of those directors that I love silence and I love an audience to feel uncomfortable with the silence. And I always, the way I bring it up with students and show them is with anger. And I'll do a scene where I'm pissed off, really angry and loud. And then I'll do one where I don't say a thing and I'm silent. And I'm just looking at people, staring at them. And I say to them, which one was the most powerful to you? And they always say the silent. I said, do you know why that is? And they're just like, well, I don't know. I said, it's because the first one, I'm demanding your attention. So you're looking at me because I'm physically demanding it by shouting, making you focus at me. I said, the second one, I've actually now psychologically got your attention because you don't know what I'm going to do. And now you're on edge, waiting to see what I'm about to do. And I said, that's the big difference. I said, psychological emotion is way stronger than an audible emotion.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things I've always been taught is that stillness and silence as a creature actor can be more compelling than being really physical. I used it on the Shannara Chronicles with the Doug D'Amore a couple of times where I was just like, the director said, you can let that go longer because that was really like powerful. The fact that, there's all this anger coming at you and you're just standing there looking at them. And that's really unnerving.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
hard, isn't it? Because you feel like you want to kind of move things along. And quite a lot of the New Zealand industry early on, it was like, you need to cue fast, keep it going.
I think for me, it's easier for me to go that way because for me, that's how I am naturally. If I get angry and you hear me raising my voice, you've got nothing to worry about. I'm like that kettle, right? I'm that kettle that's just releasing the tension. It's when I go quiet. If I go quiet, you're in deep shit. Because now actually now you've pissed me off so much that it's all internal now. And it's going to release. So it's building up pressure wise. I think that's why I've always found it easier to go silent in those situations, to bring that intensity.
I'm a yeller.
She's a kettle.
Yeah.
But everything's so close to the surface. He always knows where he stands with me. I don't hold on to anything.
Yeah.
And I naturally have he's gotten used to it now, but I'm naturally just a louder person. I think I'm the loudest person he knows, probably.
No, but see, that's it. I'm exactly the same though, right? I'll let you know so that you know exactly where I am.
If you found yourself stranded in a remote location, would you have a clue how to survive? And pick a companion to be stranded with from the films.
I would 100% know how to survive. That's actually probably, again, growing up with my heroes. They taught me how to survive. My grandfather taught me how to survive. He taught me you have no worries about not being able to eat, and then you'll have no worries about not being able to have shelter or food cooked. Yeah, I 100% know how to survive. I mean, as a kid, I used to finish school during summer, 9, 10 years old, jump on my horse with my dogs and go out to the bush, and all I had to do was be home by Sunday at 3 o'clock. I had to be home at 3 o'clock on Sunday. If I wasn't, then there were consequences for making my grandmother worry. So yeah, I'd go out, build myself a bivouac, go eeling, go fishing, hunt possums, pigs, whatever. And I'll tell you what's hilarious is that I was lucky enough to be looking after ScarJo on film we did here in Wellington, and we went out on a boat, and there was a goggles and snorkel on the boat, and I said, "Oh shit, can I grab the goggles and snorkel, or just go down and see if there's any food there?" And they were just like, "What?" So I go, "Yeah, sure." So I grabbed it, jumped overboard, and got a whole lot of power. and brought them back up. And then Rowan, the chef, he cooked it up. And she was just like, oh my gosh, if I ever get stranded on an island, I want you to be with me.
Oh, well, that's it. She wants to be with you, but who do you want to be with?
um, you know what's funny? That's actually a really hard one because I'm really happy just with myself.
Yeah.
Because for me, if I'm surviving, I just have to worry about me, and it's so much easier worrying and looking after me. If it was someone from the films,
The least annoying person to be stuck on an island with.
yeah, I know, right? Do you know what? I'm going to go Arwen. Her aura was just calming and caring. Um, Plus, she's an elf.
Yeah.
So she's going to live for a long time. And sure, I won't, but at least she'll be able to say, at least I'll be able to teach her how to keep surviving. And then when she finally gets rescued, she'll be able to at least tell the story about
Yeah.
what I did.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah,
I
but
like
I
that.
think she'd be pretty good at surviving. She's good with a bow and arrow. She's pretty good with a
Yeah,
knife.
great. Exactly. Great with a bow and arrow,
Yeah.
great with a knife.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
cook, I know
Yeah.
how to skin shit and cook it up.
Yeah.
But
She's
also
good with
just
healing magic.
yeah, and just but just the way she is, her character, her aura, she's just so calming. So yeah. Not that she couldn't be badass as well, but you don't want someone to be badass if you're stuck with them the whole time on an island, You
Yeah.
want someone to be badass when they need to be in case, someone turns up that they shouldn't be there and tries to steal our coconuts. Sure, be badass
Oh,
then.
it's that kind of island. Oh, okay.
But yeah, nah, there you go. Arwen.
That's good.
Good answer. I
Very
love
good
that.
answer.
And you got that one.
Okay, if you had to move to a different country, which would you choose and why?
Mate, that is real easy. Czech Republic. Czech Republic is. I went over there and filmed Prince Caspian over there, and it's just coming from New Zealand. I mean, we've got a beautiful country. I love New Zealand. Absolutely love New Zealand. Such a beautiful country. Um, but we're a young country, and a lot of our history a lot of our history's been lost because everything that was made out of untreated wood or thatch
Yeah.
or whatever, and there's nothing standing. You still got sites where it could have, but nothing's actually standing. Whereas Czech Republic, you've still got all the castles there. You've got the history. The people are just absolutely amazing. I love the food. Yeah, after filming Prince Caspian, came back to New Zealand, and I actually got homesick for the Czech Republic.
Right.
So I actually moved over there for 12 months. Got a little apartment and stayed there. And the great thing about the Czech Republic is at that time, you didn't really need a visa because you were allowed to stay in there for 3 months. And so all I do was do conventions, cross a border, come back. And my first convention paid my rent for 12 months and
Wow.
then a whole lot of money left over. So that's what I did. I got an apartment for 12 months and I just stayed in the Czech Republic and lived there.
Excellent.
And I absolutely loved it. I just loved the history, the buildings, the people, the food, everything about the culture. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that you'd lived there for 12 months. That's amazing.
Yeah, do you know why I came back? In January, I got an email saying that I'd been cast in Kingdom Come. and
Oh,
that
wow,
they
me
were,
too.
and so I sold up everything, got everything done, jumped on the flight. It was minus 21 when I left, and I didn't have a lot of money by then because the cons had kind of dried up because it was winter. So I did the cheapest flight, which was about 4 different legs, 5 different legs, all around the place. So it took me about 3.5, 4 days to get back to New Zealand, just sitting in airports. And I remember this so clearly. Got back to New Zealand, went to New World Supermarket in Miramar, getting me some food. I just bought a car, a little cheap car, didn't have anywhere to stay, and bumped into one of the guys that I knew from the film industry, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, so great to see you." I said, "Good to see you too." And he goes, "Thought you were in the overseas." And I go, "Yeah, Czech Republic. I just got back this morning." And they go, "Oh, how come you came back?" And I go, "Oh, I've been casting Kingdom Come." And their face just went blank. And I went, "Yeah, so I came back for that." And he goes, "Have you not heard?" I went, "Heard what?" He goes, "It's gone." I said, "What has?" He goes, "Kingdom Come. It's." I go, "Nah, honestly, I got an email. My last email was about 5 days ago." And they go, 3 days ago. I
Yeah.
went, "No way." And they went, "Yeah." So believe it or not, I slept in my car for 6 weeks. Luckily enough for me, it was summer. So
Yeah.
I just go down to the beach, and because I was too proud to go anywhere else and say that I've got no money, no thing. So I just went down the beach, slept in my car for 6 weeks, and luckily it was summer, and I knew how to look after myself. So I just go
Yeah.
fishing and diving, and to get food and that, and luckily enough got work back at Weta Digital. So yeah,
Yeah, I remember you being at digital around that time. Yeah, Kingdom Come, man. They built all those amazing sets up in Mount Crawford. That
and
set was
down
still
south.
there, like, and down south, yeah. It was going to be a really big deal. And there was rumors again and again that it was going to come back again at some stage, but it never eventuated.
No. So yeah. So Czech Republic
Yeah.
is where I'd go. Although the last couple of times I've been over to Germany, I've really relished the history of Germany. Because in Bonn, um, Beethoven's house is in Bonn, so
Yeah.
I've went and visited Beethoven's house, and that was pretty amazing. And then also the last time I was there, I went to Marburg and went and saw, because that's where the Brothers Grimm
Oh,
did
yeah.
a lot of their writing, and so yeah, went and visited a whole lot of places there. I just love Europe for the history. We're such a young
Yeah.
country that you read and you hear about castles, but you've never actually when you're over in Europe, you actually go into castles, and just go
Yeah.
wow. Or you go into cathedrals that were built in the 1300s, and you're sitting on the seats and you're going, wow, this is the most comfortable seat. And then you realize that it's just the weight of time of people sitting in it have made the wood cover. And it's just stunning.
Yeah.
And then just looking at
Shane.
the architecture, the
Yeah.
architecture.
We are an incredibly young country in New Zealand and here in the States as well, in terms of the buildings. There's not that kind of centuries old things that are
Mm.
there.
But apart from that, New Zealand, because
Yeah.
I'll be honest, if I wanted to go live anywhere else, I would have already gone there by now. But
Yeah.
Aotearoa has just held me here. I just love the fact that we've got nothing dangerous here. The one thing I've really noticed every time I go overseas is ants. Even though we have ants, like you can lie on our grass here and not worry about ants. You can go into
I
our
know.
bush and not worry about ants. You can go to our beach and not worry about ants. I was in Malaysia and went out in a boat like 3 hours away from the mainland to this little island, stepped off onto the sand and ants. And I'm just like, what the hell? And they were the fire bloody ants as well, that if they bit you, hurt like shit.
Yeah.
So, I just love our country in that you can go anywhere and not actually worry about anything. Apart from if you go into the bush, come out and, if you've driven somewhere and you're going out into the bush for a walk and you come back, someone's broken into your car or stolen the wheels off your car,
That's
apart
right.
From that, yeah. And I love it when people come from snakes countries, and you go through our bush and there's a log and they all walk around it, no one steps over it in case there's a snake on the other side that'll hit them, and you just go, what the hell are you doing? Oh, just in case. So yeah.
No snakes here.
We just filmed something. We went for a hike and he basically hiked with his with his bare feet the whole time because we were kind of going for like a Hobbit look, and so he was just walking through the tall grass. There's signs that say beware of rattlesnakes. He doesn't care. He's just all in the bush, doesn't matter. Bare feet.
You know what's funny? It's not that he doesn't care. It's because we've never had to care.
Yeah.
So it's just in there. It's like me. Like I go down, Poland. I was in Poland just walking through a bush, and then all of a sudden there's a sign, when bitten by a viper. It's just like, what do you mean when bitten by a viper? What happened to if bitten by a viper? And I was in Galatia and in the States walking down to the beach, and it says hazards. And I thought, I'll look at the hazards. It says falling rocks. Oh yeah, and then it's got tides, currents. Oh yeah, undertows. Sorry, rattlesnakes. What? And it's just like, if I'd never seen that sign, I would never have thought of it. We just don't know.
I meant to tell you actually, when you go into the bush and you come back and the wheels are gone from your car, that's ants.
Yeah.
When you were talking about ants, it took me a second to realize you were not saying ants with your accent.
We have lots of ants in our forest.
Before you go, we've got one more thing that we like to do with our special guests.
Ready?
If more of us valued food and cheer and song above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world.
May the hairs on your toes never fall out.
Shane Rangi, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
It was so great to meet you.
Well. Yeah. Oh, I love to meet you too. I'd love to meet you in person though.
Yes.
It's going to happen. We're going to make it happen somehow.
Yes, sometime soon. All right, cool. Shane, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Soon,
okay.
See you.
Bye-bye.